What's up, guys? RC Busting Nut over here. I just want to give you a little, share a little maintenance, um, which is so important to do when you're doing speed runs. You have to do this way more often than if you were doing this for a car that you're bashing or a car that you're racing at the track. I mean, you always have to do maintenance, but when you're doing speed runs, you really have to do maintenance more often than if you were just bashing or running at the track. And I kind of started slacking off on that a little bit, and this is what happens when you don't keep up with stuff. As far as the last run that I did for the speed run that I posted on my channel, I did 128, hit a new PB, and I even cut that run short because I started seeing that the rear tire was wobbling, and it was wobbling pretty good. And I started seeing an issue with one of the tires where the hub was binding against the rim on the inside on the GRP tire, and it was leaving a black ring around where the hex is on the rim. And I'm like, what the heck? And I took everything apart. I cleaned all the bearings, everything. I couldn't see anything. And then when I installed these new aluminum A-arms, I was looking at the HUD and I noticed that there was a lot of slack and a lot of slop on the tire. I was like, huh, that's strange. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's the this little ring right here, which just sits on the bearing. Maybe it was worn out. It's like, maybe that's worn out. You know, I'm like, okay, I have another set. I'll just go ahead and swap them out. So when I grab that new set, what I notice is that these hexes, let's see if I can zoom in there, but it's a lot thicker. These are a lot thicker. These are thinner. I don't even remember where I got these from, but the thickness of the actual hex part right here is way thinner by like almost a 16th of an inch. So the rim was going in further and binding against the hubs. So between that and then another thing that I found as I started taking things apart, I found that the servo arm had completely just become loose. That thing was just slopping in there. And I was having these issues where the car was just kind of going wonky when, especially at, I don't know why, at long distance, maybe because I was turning the car around and then the servo arm was just not in place. So when I tried to get going, the car just started just going bonkers. So I tightened that up, some new Loctite on that. This is why you do maintenance, because in speed runs, everything is vibrating at an incredible G-force rating. And things will loosen up even if there's Loctite. I've tightened all these screws up so many times between speed runs, and it's just amazing how things can come loose even with Loctite, even with the 242, the blue stuff. It's just, things come apart. And then during that, I found, while taking that apart and fixing this, I noticed that my front shaft, drive shaft, was loose. I'm like, what the freaking heck? Did I break the main gear? But nope, the main gear was fine. But here is the two gears, bearings that go on either side of this main input gear on the front diff, completely shredded. And what happened was that this guy is bowed, so the oscillation completely destroyed the front bearings. So I have Thursday coming in 2 new shafts from M2C hardened steel. I'm hoping that those will do a lot better. I do have to reorder the rear one because I forgot that I had stretched this car out, and now I have to use the Creighton 6S extended wheel base dog bone. And looking at this guy too. I don't know if the camera can even focus on it, but these pins, I mean, this is the original drive shaft from this car when I bought it a couple of years ago, and I did so much bashing and speed running, and especially now with these higher speed runs. But these things are thin. It's hard to tell. I don't know if I can focus, but they've gotten so worn down, especially this side. So I think this is the side that must have been going to the look how thin that is. It's like a blade. I'm like, wow. Ironically, the cups wasn't in that bad condition, but I mean, it is a little worn, and I'm gonna have to go ahead and replace this guy as well. So maintenance is key, guys. You know, you're doing speed runs, you're gonna start wearing parts a lot faster. Next thing that I also found was, let's see, actually I think that was the brunt of it. And when this is another tip, guys, these are the hinge pins for the A-arms. Take the time, take these out, clean them out, and polish them. I use a little bit of sandpaper and a little wet sponge, fine grit sandpaper. But this right here, this is super smooth now after both of these came out at the same time from here. These are the originals. This is after sanding down, smoothing it, cleaning. This is just cleaning. And even though I cleaned it out good with the greaser stuff that I have here, cleaner, that's amazing. It still looks like this, and it's rough. By the time I'm done with this guy, cleaning it with the sandpaper is going to be nice and super smooth. This keeps your arms going, swinging nice and smooth. It gives you much smoother ride on your car, better suspension handling. And this is whether you're doing speed runs where you're just bashing, especially bashing when your arms are going up and down like crazy, or at the track. Keep these hinge pins clean, smoothed out, a little sandpaper with the fine grit. It just makes them super smooth. Then I like to use for lubricant this stuff, WD-40 silicone. This stuff will dry. It's a quick drying lubricant, and so it doesn't leave a super oily film. Other than that, I'm just going to be ordering now some ceramic bearings for the front end. I'm hoping that the M2Cs are going to really hold up, and once I get everything back together, this car should be now rolling really nice and smooth, because there was a lot of things that were playing against me in these last couple speed runs that I did, and I didn't notice because I got lazy. I'm doing maintenance. It's important, especially when you're doing speed runs. Maintenance. Every run, check everything out. Check all your screws, all your fasteners. Make sure that everything is torqued down, and check your bearings. I did check my rear. I took that apart now, and it's like all the bearings there were great. Everything was intact, and the rear dog bone is still nice and straight. But I still ordered a new one, which I have to reorder now because I got the wrong one. But I'm gonna definitely put some better dog bones in here, because that oscillation, not only will it damage stuff primarily, but it will also slow down your car. And then on a side thing, this guy. I've had the body for a while and I haven't painted it. I've been itching to get this guy back out on the run, and I finally had time this weekend to paint the body. Not the way that I wanted to, but there she is. New body. New paint. Originally I wanted to take the same fluorescent yellow and start fading it in here, and then starting with the yellow and fading into the orange, but I ran out of paint, and I'm like, you know what, it is what it is. I just want to make sure that when I'm far away I see a bright yellow nose and the bright tail yellow so that I can see the car from far away, but after putting it together, it doesn't look that bad. But I'm hoping to get this puppy out very soon on the road. She is still running on XLX2, and I have a brand new 1650 kV, which I originally intended in putting into that car because I was just going to keep that car as a speed bashing car. But because I was waiting to do the whole body, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to put the 2400 kV in here and see what happens. And I'm glad I did because this car's been really fun. I mean, even with all of this that's going on, I'm surprised that I was able to keep this car mainly straight during all those speed runs. So she handled amazing. But it's time to bring out this bad boy again back to the road, and I'll be doing some new runs with this guy and see what we can do. I'll probably get some baseline runs with just the 1650 kV, see what I do, and then I'm swapping motors because I want to get this guy 150 and over, and I know she could, because right now I'm so conservative gearing, geared so conservative on this car, just a 1-1 34, and with everything that I had going on, I was able to hit just under 130. I know now when I fix everything up and get everything nice and smooth, I'll be able to hit over 130 on 6S with a 1-1 ratio, 34. So that's what's going on, guys. Keep them fast, keep them clean. Maintenance is important. Just want to point that out so that you can see for yourself what happens when you actually don't do maintenance. I mean, stuff like this should have never even gotten to this point. But I've been so busy and I just wanted to get the runs out there, then that's what happens. All right, guys. See you on the road again. Ciao.